I love the smell of morning dew on our pastures. After 42 years of running this ranch, that smell still gets me out of bed before sunrise. I was supposed to be in Nashville until Friday for the livestock auction, but the whole thing wrapped up early. Good prices, good deals, and I'd be home a day ahead of schedule to surprise my Margaret. I pulled my truck into our driveway around 3 in the afternoon, already imagining the look on her face when I walked through that door. Maybe we'd sit on the porch, swing together, watch the sun set over the hay fields like we used to before things got so busy with the ranch expansion. But when I opened the front door, I didn't hear her humming in the kitchen like usual. Instead, I heard crying, soft, broken sobs coming from the back of the house. My heart dropped. In 4 decades of marriage, I could count on one hand the times I'd heard Margaret cry like that. I set my bag down quietly and followed the sound. She was in our bedroom, sitting on the edge of our bed with her face in her hands, shoulders shaking. I'd never seen her look so small, so defeated. "Margaret?" I said softly. "Sweetheart, what's wrong?" She looked up, and the expression on her face nearly broke me. Fear, shame, relief, all at once. "Robert," she whispered, "you're home early. Thank God you're home." That's when I heard it. Laughter. Loud, cheerful laughter coming from my study down the hall. A woman's voice, bright and confident, talking about property transfers and bank accounts. "Jessica." "Our daughter-in-law." I looked at Margaret, confused. "What's going on? Why is Jessica here? Where's Michael?" "He's at work," Margaret said, her voice cracking. "He doesn't know she's here. Robert, she came with papers. She said we needed to sign them today, that it was urgent, that you'd already agreed to everything. She said if we didn't sign, we'd lose the ranch anyway, that there were debts, that Michael was in trouble." I felt ice run through my veins. What kind of papers? Margaret's hands trembled as she pulled out a folder from beside her on the bed. I opened it and felt the world tilt. Transfer of property deed, quitclaim documents, power of attorney assignments, all with spaces for our signatures. And at the bottom of one page, I saw something that made my blood boil. A signature that looked like mine. But I'd never signed anything. "She forged these," I said quietly. Margaret nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I told her I needed to wait for you, that I wouldn't sign anything without you seeing it first." She got angry, Robert. She said I was being difficult, that I was too old to understand business matters, that if I really loved Michael, I'd trust her. She's been here for 3 hours, pressuring me, calling me every 15 minutes when I tried to hide in here. From the study, Jessica's voice rang out again, this time on her phone. "Yes, I'll have the signatures by end of business today. The old lady is almost ready to crack. Once I have hers, I can finish his. Yes, the notary is standing by." Something in me went very cold and very calm. This wasn't anger anymore. This was something else. This was war. I pulled out my phone and opened the voice recorder. Then I kissed Margaret's forehead and whispered, "Stay here, don't come out. And whatever you hear, trust me." I walked down the hall to my study. Jessica had her back to the door, designer heels propped up on my desk, talking animatedly on her phone. She was wearing a suit that probably cost more than our monthly feed bill. "Jessica," I said. She spun around, and for just a second, I saw pure panic flash across her face. Then she composed herself, smiled that bright smile she always used. "Dad, you're back early. I heard what you were just doing," I said evenly. "I heard everything." Her smile faltered. "I don't know what Margaret told you, but she's confused. I was trying to help you both with some routine paperwork." "Routine paperwork?" I held up the folder. "Routine paperwork that transfers ownership of my ranch, my home, and my bank accounts? Routine paperwork with my forged signature? That's not I would never." "I have your phone call recorded," I said quietly. "The one where you told someone you'd have the signatures by end of business today. The one where you said, 'The old lady is almost ready to crack.' You want to keep lying to me, Jessica?" She stood up, and I saw her calculate. Fight or flight. She chose fight. "You don't understand," she said, her voice hardening. "Michael and I have been struggling. We have debts you don't know about. Credit cards, loans, the business investment that failed. We're drowning, and you're sitting on all this land, all this money, doing nothing with it. So you thought you'd steal it? It's not stealing. Michael is your only child. This will all be his someday anyway. I was just accelerating the timeline. You and Margaret are getting older. You can't run this place forever. We could sell it, pay off our debts, start fresh somewhere, without asking us, without telling my son, by forging documents and manipulating my wife. Jessica's mask finally dropped completely. Your wife is a weak, simple woman who doesn't understand how the real world works. She was holding up progress. I did what I had to do. I'd never wanted to throw someone out of my house so badly in my life. But I kept my voice steady. Get out, I said. Now. And if you ever come near Margaret again, if you ever set foot on this property again, I will have you arrested for attempted fraud, forgery, and elder abuse. Are we clear? You can't prove anything. I held up my phone, still recording. Voice recording. Forged signature. Witness testimony from Margaret. Want me to call the sheriff right now? Or do you want to walk out with some dignity? She grabbed her purse and stormed past me, but stopped at the door. Michael will choose me, she hissed. He's my husband. When I tell him you threw me out, refused to help us, he'll never forgive you. Then she was gone. I stood there, shaking, until I heard Margaret's soft footsteps behind me. Is she gone? She asked. She's gone. Margaret wrapped her arms around me from behind, and I felt her tears soaking through my shirt. I'm sorry. I should have been stronger. I should have called you immediately, but she said you knew, she said. Michael was in trouble, and I was so scared. You did exactly right, I said, turning to hold her. You didn't sign anything. You waited for me. That's all that matters. But even as I held her, my mind was racing. Because Jessica had said something true. Michael was my son, and he had no idea what his wife had just tried to do. I needed to talk to him before Jessica got to him first. I called Michael's office. His secretary said he was in a meeting but would be out in 30 minutes. I told her it was a family emergency and to have him call me immediately. While I waited, I photographed every page of the documents Jessica had brought. I saved the voice recording to 3 different places. I called our family attorney, Tom Peterson, and explained the situation. Robert, Tom said seriously, you need to file a police report. This is attempted fraud and elder abuse. Texas has strong laws protecting elderly victims. I'm 68, Tom. I don't feel elderly. The law doesn't care how you feel. You and Margaret are over 65. What Jessica did qualifies as financial exploitation of the elderly. It's a felony. I need to talk to Michael first. Robert. He's my son, Tom. If I go to the police before talking to him, I might lose him forever. Jessica will twist this, make herself the victim. I need him to hear the truth from me first. Tom was quiet for a moment. Okay. But Robert? Document everything. And if Michael doesn't believe you, or if Jessica tries this again, you file that report immediately. Promise me. I promise. Michael called back 20 minutes later. Dad? Sarah said it was an emergency. Is Mom okay? Your mother's fine, but we need to talk. Can you come to the ranch? Now? I'm in the middle of a big project. Michael, it's about Jessica, and it can't wait. There was a pause. What about Jessica? Just come home, son, please. He arrived an hour later, looking worried and confused. I was waiting on the porch, the folder of documents on the table beside me. Dad, what's going on? I called Jessica, but she's not answering. Her location shows she's at her sister's place. Sit down, I said. Saturday, I handed him the folder. Your wife came here today while you were at work, I began. She brought these documents and spent 3 hours trying to pressure your mother into signing them. She told your mother I had already agreed that you were in financial trouble, that we'd lose the ranch if we didn't sign immediately. Michael opened the folder. I watched his face as he read. Confusion, disbelief, horror. Dad, this is a property transfer. This would give Jessica and me ownership of everything. The ranch, the house, your bank accounts. He looked up at me. I didn't know anything about this. I know you didn't. But my signature is here. And yours. He looked closer. Wait, this isn't your signature. It's close, but... He looked at me, and I saw the moment it clicked. Oh my God. She forged these? I played him the recording. His face went white as he listened to his wife's voice. The old lady is almost ready to crack. When it finished, he sat there in silence for a long moment. Then he put his head in his hands. I didn't know, he said quietly. Dad, I swear to God I had no idea she was planning this. I believe you. We do have debts, he admitted. About 60,000 in credit cards and a failed business investment. I've been working extra hours trying to pay it down. Jessica's been stressed about money, but I never thought. He looked at me, his eyes red. How could she do this to you? To Mom? She told me you were her husband, and you'd choose her over us. Michael stood up abruptly. I need to go talk to her. Son. No, Dad. I need to hear her explain this. I need to understand how my wife thought it was okay to try to steal from my parents, to make my mother cry, to forge documents. His voice broke. I'll be back. He left. Margaret came out onto the porch and sat beside me. Will he be okay? She asked. I don't know, I admitted. But he knows the truth now. Whatever happens next is between him and Jessica. We sat together as the sun set, not talking, just being, the way we'd done for 42 years. Michael didn't come back that night, or the next morning. I tried calling, but it went to voicemail. Finally, around noon the next day, he pulled into the driveway. He looked like he hadn't slept. When he got out of the truck, I saw he was carrying a suitcase. I left her, he said simply. I'm staying at a hotel, but I wanted you to know. I confronted Jessica last night. She tried to deny it at first. Then she got defensive, said she was trying to help us, that you and Mom were being selfish, holding on to all this land you weren't using. When I told her what she did was illegal, that you could press charges, she laughed. Said you wouldn't because you loved me too much to put my wife in prison. She's right about that, I said quietly. I know. That's what made me sick. She was counting on your love for me to protect her from consequences. Michael looked at me, and I saw my son was crying. Dad, I'm so sorry. I brought her into this family. I married her. This is my fault. No, I said firmly. You didn't know. You trusted your wife. That's not a crime. What do I do now? I stood up and put my hand on his shoulder. You figure out what you want. If you want to try to work it out with her, we'll support you. If you want a divorce, we'll support you. But son, whatever you decide, we're not pressing charges, as long as she stays away from your mother and this property. Tom's already drafted a cease and desist letter. If she violates it, then we go to the police. But I won't destroy my son's marriage if there's something worth saving. There's not, Michael said quietly. She showed me who she really is last night. Someone who sees you and Mom as obstacles, as resources to exploit. Someone who would manipulate and lie to get what she wants. I can't be married to that person. Then we'll help you through the divorce. She'll fight it. She'll want money, property. We'll get you the best lawyer in Tennessee. And Michael, that 60,000 in debt? Consider it paid. Early inheritance. You start fresh, clean slate. He hugged me then, this grown man who I'd raised, and I felt him shake with sobs. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. You've got nothing to be sorry for, son. Nothing at all. The divorce took 8 months. Jessica fought hard, claimed Michael abandoned her, tried to get half of everything, including his future inheritance from us. But our attorney was better. And when we showed the court the forged documents, the recordings, Margaret's testimony about the emotional manipulation, the judge was not sympathetic to Jessica. She got nothing except her own debts, and a restraining order keeping her away from us. Michael moved back to the ranch for a while, helped me with the expansion we'd been planning, got his head back together, started dating again eventually, a sweet elementary school teacher named Anna who actually cared about him, not his family's land. Margaret and I had our locks changed, installed security cameras, and updated our will with very specific language about attempted undue influence. Tom made sure everything was airtight. But the biggest change was internal. Margaret was different after that day. Stronger. She told me she'd spent years being polite, being accommodating, not wanting to make waves. But Jessica had showed her what happened when you were too nice to the wrong people. I won't be manipulated again, she said, not by family, not by anyone. And she meant it. As for me, I learned that coming home early isn't always the surprise you hope for. Sometimes it's the surprise you need. If I'd stayed in Nashville that extra day, if I'd arrived on Friday like planned, Margaret might have signed those papers under pressure. We might have lost everything. Instead, I walked through my door at exactly the right moment to hear my wife crying and my daughter-in-law laughing. And I made sure my wife never had to cry like that again. The ranch is still ours. The sunset still looks beautiful from our porch swing. And after everything, Margaret and I are stronger than ever. Sometimes the worst betrayals teach you the most important lessons. Who you can trust, who you need to protect, and what you're willing to fight for. And I'd fight for my Margaret until my last breath. That's what 42 years of love looks like. Not just the good times, but showing up when it matters, protecting what's precious, and never ever taking loyalty for granted. Jessica thought we were just old people she could push around. She learned different, and every time I see Margaret smile now, confident and strong, I'm grateful I came home early that day. Because real love isn't about surprises or sunset. It's about being there when your partner needs you most. And I always will be.